Well, Bitcoin topping 40,000 again earlier today. Now, this, of course, is the coin has been rallying to 6-week highs. Some saying it's due to short positions being liquidated and talk of Amazon stepping now into digital currencies. Plus, those bullish comments from the likes of Elon Musk last week also helping to support sentiment. Now, Antoni Trenchev, the co-founder of Nexo, joins us on the line. Antoni, it's great to have you on. Of course, Elon Musk is going to be bullish on Bitcoin. Apparently, his earnings report shows that Tesla still holds $1.3 billion worth of it. I mean, that can't come as such a surprise. Where do you see us headed over the coming weeks?
Well, Hadley and Matt, we have been range bound for the better part of 6 weeks. We still are. We are approaching the 200-day moving average. It's around 45,000. I would like to see us close above that on a daily or even on a weekly chart for me to, take a deep breath and say, okay, now the worst is behind us. Unfortunately, if we can do that, we will probably go lower and retest the lows around 29, 30,000. I'm hopeful that this will be the lows of the year in that vicinity, 25,000 to 29, and we can rally again. And as you can tell, I am as bullish as ever on Bitcoin.
And that's in spite of the headline risk, though, right? Because we've heard from the IMF basically saying, warning countries don't use Bitcoin as your national currency. There's serious worries about security and et cetera. And we just don't know, frankly, how high this or low this could go. There are also the bigger headline risks, right? In terms of the politics, China, of course, all those really incredible pictures of them damaging all of these energy, like the servers for the Bitcoin. It's an incredibly volatile space still.
Yes, well, that's why we like it. The volatility is to the upside as well to the downside. Having the right perspective and time horizon on Bitcoin, it still outperforms any other asset, whether it's on 1, 3, 5, or 10-year basis. The macroeconomic case is there. And to bring it home to what you said, the headlines, I think they go into the direction that it's not going to be an outright ban on crypto. And this was in the backhead and the worry of everyone in the space for a very long time. We see the regulators finally paying attention to the space, and all they're saying we are going to regulate it just as the regular banking sector. And quite frankly, entrepreneurs such as myself, the people at Nexo and companies like us, this is all we ever wanted to hear, that we will have concise, precise rules within which we can operate. We're fine with that. Just let us know what the rules are and don't just ignore the space as the regulators have been doing for a very long time until recently.
Right, but that's exactly the problem, isn't it? That regulators, as you rightly point out, haven't been saying what they're going to do and how they're going to regulate the crypto space, with the exception of China. We've, of course, been witnessing, and I'm sure you've been privy to it as well, this huge sell down that we've been seeing in the Hong Kong and China equity markets over the last few days when it comes to regulatory concern about tech companies, about education companies. Do you not fear that, once again, Bitcoin could be caught up in this regulatory overreach coming out of China?
Well, I'm always amazed at the resilience of Bitcoin and the inbuilt mechanisms by virtue of which it is so reflexive of the changes. Last time I was on, we were talking about the China ban on mining, and what's the outcome of it? The hash rate, the processing power went down, but that didn't slow down the network. It performed just as intended. And what happened out of it, now that mining is out of China, it gets, Bitcoins get mined in a much eco-friendly way, in a much more sustainable way, utilizing renewable energies. And it's just this inbuilt mechanisms of Bitcoin that make it such a great asset, and that goes to the genius of Satoshi Nakamoto, how he programmed this to be able to reflect and adapt to the new realities. So I don't think there's anything on the horizon that can quite worry us.
Okay, you were talking about the volatility before. As a Bitcoin investor, how do you mitigate that volatility? Because if you got in near the record highs only a few months ago, of course, in excess of $60,000 a coin, you're going to have been burned quite a bit when we fell, of course, way back down to 30 and sitting around 40,000. Now, we heard from Tesla in its results, it had to take an impairment charge on its investment in Bitcoin as well. So if you are an investor in the crypto space, you said you like like the volatility, but how do you also protect yourself and mitigate against the volatility?
Well, by applying the first and best principles of investing, get your money management right, meaning do not invest more than you can afford to lose. It is a nascent space. It is a volatile space. So you should be in crypto and Bitcoin in particular, but only with single-digit percentage points of your total portfolio as a diversifier. Quite frankly, Bitcoin improves any Sharpe ratio of well-diversified portfolio, and is just taking the right attitude towards the length of your investment. Because if you invested near the all-time highs in 2018, that was $19,000. Yes, you took a hit for a year and a half, and then we rallied significantly, triple X that. So timing the market, it is a predicament for every single one of us. The Warren Buffetts of this world are not that many. So it is a matter of having a longer horizon and the right money management so that you don't get stressed out by the day-to-day movements of the market.
And just speaking of those day-to-day movements, we saw cryptos climbing on the news that Amazon could potentially be using Bitcoin or other cryptos for payment. That, of course, was denied by the company. But it isn't so outside the box to imagine that that could be coming at some point in the future. When you think about this a bit more broadly, as an investor in cryptos, how do you sort of buy and sell on that kind of thought process or news? Because we're not there yet, but it is certainly something. I mean, I'm speaking about it, to Russian energy ministers about when are you going to start using this for oil contracts. So it's one of those things that you're trying to bank in, I guess, as you're potentially investing.
Well, Bitcoin is not the greatest medium of exchange. We are in the build-up phase and finding the true value of Bitcoin, so it's much too valuable for you to so easily depart as to buy, a gadget on Amazon. Quite frankly, that's why you have companies such as Nexo, whereby you can borrow against your Bitcoin rather than selling it, participating in its upside potential. And to me, about Amazon, the question is not really, does Bitcoin need Amazon, but can Amazon withstand not needing and not incorporating Bitcoin as part of their offering going forward, because crypto is going to be so large and so huge. And quite frankly, I remember the days when JP Morgan and Jamie Dimon were trash talking Bitcoin as the root of all evil and peril of the financial system. 2 years later, they're offering it to the wealthiest clients across all accounts. So, revolutions happen slightly slower than one expected, but they do happen.
Antoni, thank you very much for joining us on the show as always. Antoni Trenchev from Nexo there.